Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Scullery, a small kitchen where big things can happen. Today, we're making beignets, those soft, pillowy dreams that are almost like donuts, but French. The dough for the beignet is very similar to the dough of a donut, but it's generally just not quite as sweet. We're going to start with 113 milliliters of lukewarm water, that's about half a cup, and we are going to add that to 113 milliliters of lukewarm milk, again, half a cup. What is lukewarm, you ask? It's just about body temperature. We're going to add in our 8 grams of active dry yeast, that's 2 teaspoons. This is going to allow the outer shell of the yeast to soften and start to wake up the yeast. If your milk and water mixture is too hot, you will kill your yeast, so no warmer than lukewarm, please. Next, we're going to give it a little bit of a stir to help combine things. The yeast will help leaven our dough and add flavor. Add this to our mixing bowl. Sure, the mixing can be done by hand, but this dough is sticky and, well, I'm lazy. Make sure you get it all in there. You don't want to waste any of that yeast, and it does seem to want to click to the sides of the measuring cup. Next up, we add 28 grams of melted butter. That's 2 tablespoons. Followed by 1 large egg that has been lightly beaten. And yes, I like to beat it ahead of time. It helps to incorporate it into the batter more quickly, I think. 5 milliliters of vanilla extract is up next. That's a teaspoon. Okay, well, maybe I added more than a teaspoon, but what can I say? I like vanilla. Next up, a little something to feed our yeast and get it going. Sugar. That's 50 grams to be exact, or just about 1/4 of a cup. 6 grams of freshly grated nutmeg. That's about 2 teaspoons. Why? Because it smells good, and, well, I like nutmeg in my donuts and beignets. It may not be traditional, but I'm okay with that. Give this a little stir. Then we're going to add our flour. That's going to be 480 grams of flour. That's 4 sifted cups. And yes, I prefer to cook by weight with things that are easily compacted, like flour and powdered sugar. Finally comes in the salt. 13 grams of kosher salt, or 2 teaspoons. I like to put my salt in at the end because I've been told if the salt were to touch the yeast, it would kill it. Is it true? I don't know. But why risk it? We're going to set up our mixer with our dough hook and crank it up and give this some love. You are going to want to scrape down the sides of your bowl and your dough hook to make sure everything's coming together. And it should come together into a beautiful and very nice shaggy little ball. We're going to cover it with some cling film or plastic wrap and let it rest for 1 hour.
1 hour later.
Thanks to the magic of video editing, 1 hour has elapsed. I'm going to take our nicely risen dough, which is soft and springy, and put it onto this silpat, which is a non-stick silicone baking mat. It's 14 inches by 9 inches, or just about 36 by 23 centimeters. Yes, you can do this on a well-floured countertop or a piece of parchment paper or wax paper, but I like to do it like this. This is me. We're then going to liberally flour the top of our dough ball because it will help it stop from sticking to our rolling pin and forcing us to say bad words. Rub it in and mush it down. Yes, mush is a technical term. Next, we're going to roll this to 1/4 of an inch thick. I use rolling pin guides to help keep things even as we work ourselves towards a rectangular shape. It does not need to be perfect. And anything that does not meet our requirements of beignets perfection will still be cooked and eaten by us as a little secret Scooby snack for the cook. It's all gonna turn out just fine. We're gonna cover this with a tea towel and let it rest for just 1 more hour.
1 eternity later.
It's frying time. Heat your oil to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 190 degrees Celsius. While your oil is heating, cut your dough into 1 inch by 2 inch strips. That's 2.5 centimeters by 5 centimeters, and drop them a few at a time into the oil. I was able to cook about 4 or 5 at a time. You're going to cook them until they are lightly golden. I always start with the imperfect ones until I get the timing down because I can't tell you how long they're going to take to cook. They may end up being a little bit darker in the beginning, but with enough powdered sugar, everything will be fine. Just look at that as they double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. It may be a little Shakespearean, but I'm okay with that. These little beauties will puff up, and you will need to flip them over as they cook so they can get evenly done. Chopsticks are great for this if you can grab the little suckers, and when they're lightly golden, take them out and drain them on a wire rack over some newspaper or paper towels. Turn over. There you go. A little bit more. Slippery little suckers, aren't they? And one more. There we go. We have fried up our entire batch and are getting ready for the final step. Look at that nice array of golden brown and delicious little beauties. While they are still warm, it's time to grab a plate, a fine mesh sieve, and your powdered sugar. Make it snow. Now, in the New Orleans tradition, you're supposed to bury these pleasurably pleasant, pretty, pristine, puffy pastry pillows in powdered sugar so that you can excavate them out. But I prefer just a nice dusting. Or perhaps, if you're feeling non-traditional, you could use a mixture of cocoa powder and powdered sugar, or in my case, just a little bit of Nesquik because it's sweet and it goes on super easy. These delightful debutantes of the food world should be served warm with a nice cup of coffee, or if you're in New Orleans, a nice cafe au lait. This entire recipe can be found in the description below. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We are just getting started. If you have a suggestion for a recipe, please leave it in the comments below. Thank you for visiting us at the Scullery, and bon appetit. You see what I did there?